Hello everyone, welcome to the Astrology News Report, an alternate view of world events as seen through the lens of Vedic astrology. I'm Ron Berger. Today is March 24th, 2019. This is the Special Reports section, where I take a topic or person or situation that is pertinent to world events and do an in-depth astrological analysis. This will be a special predictive report on Rahu and Ketu, aka the Moon's nodes, in their new positions in the Zodiac. The Moon's nodes are the crossover points of the path of the Moon and the path of the Sun as seen from the Earth. Therefore, the nodes are the eclipse points. When the Sun and Moon arrive at one of the nodes at the same time, we get a solar eclipse on a new moon. When the Sun and the Moon arrive at the nodes oppositely, we get a lunar eclipse on a full moon. The eclipses were important to the ancients. They were considered portentous, indicating something bad coming in the near future. So they spent a lot of time figuring out when they would occur. The nodes are always directly across from each other. Rahu is the so-called north node. Ketu is the south node. Due to the way that the path of the Sun and path of the Moon interact, the nodes move backwards through the zodiac. When changing signs, they enter from the end of a sign. On March 23, 2019, Rahu moves from Cancer to Gemini. Ketu moves from Capricorn to Sagittarius. The nodes take about 1.5 years to transit through a sign. They will remain in these signs until September 2020. In Vedic mythology, Rahu is this serpent dragon character. He's one of the demons. Demons have great desire and get obsessed about what they want. Actually, Rahu is the head of the demon, therefore the brain and the mouth, the appetite. Ketu is the tail of the demon. No head, no brain, and just operates by instincts. In Vedic astrology, the nodes are karmic indicators. Ketu connects to the past life. Rahu connects to the future. Rahu's position indicates a special focus and the potential for material success. Ketu, on the other hand, is more spiritual, therefore not so good for the material plane. Ketu's position shows where something has to be sacrificed or dissolved. Because Ketu connects to the non-manifest world, the past, it acts mysteriously. Both of these significators are eclipse points, meaning they can distort or obscure or otherwise cause problems for whatever astrological factors they connect up with. When the nodes change signs, it's fairly significant. There's a new energy pattern in the zodiac which will be put a particular emphasis on these two opposing signs. Rahu going into Gemini means there will be a lot of focus on what Gemini represents for the next 1.5 years. Gemini is a sign obsessed with ideas and reasons, information and news. Gemini is the sign of opinions and consensus. Rahu's energy will bring more of that obsession, which, on the positive side, indicates trying to find common ground, and when operating negatively, it just breeds more dissension. Ketu, going into Sagittarius, is the significator of sacrifice, of renunciation, manifesting in the sign of personal beliefs, personal truth. Ketu's idealism brings dissatisfaction with the Sagittarian personal point of view. Ketu's signification of sacrifice in this sign indicates it's time to give up some of your sacred cows. For personal charts, the transiting nodes give more noticeable effects as determined by their house position. Where Rahu is transiting, you will be feeling a focus, be ambitious, and even getting obsessed with the affairs of that part of your life, indicated by the meanings of the house. Ketu's transit position shows where you have to abandon, surrender, let go of something, and at times Ketu doesn't give you much choice. In other words, the events appear to be beyond your control, sometimes even to the point of creating a sense of chaos. Now, I'll go through the Zodiac and describe some of what you can expect for the effects on your personal Vedic astrology chart. Just remember, this is a general analysis. The specifics will depend on what else is going on in your chart and whether or not the nodes are combining with any of your natal planets. If you are Aries Rising, Rahu will be in your 3rd house, Ketu in your 9th house. Rahu's nature of ambition fits right in with the 3rd house signification of desire and self-effort. So, no surprise, this is considered a favorable transit, pumping up your initiative, which is a natural quality of Aries people anyway. Ketu, on the other hand, will make you question where your real destiny lies. Ketu's transit through the 9th house can be summarized as changing the agenda for the future. It's also not such a good placement for relations with your father, if he's still around. For Taurus Rising people, Rahu will be in your 2nd house for the next year and a half. Ketu will be in your 8th house. The 2nd house, 8th house axis in a natal chart has a lot to do with money and materiality. 2nd house is your money, your stuff. 8th house is the other person's money, usually the spouse, and her stuff. Rahu puts the focus on you and your money and the ambition to get more of it. Ketu is detrimental for the partner's money, indicating some lack in that area. But Ketu, as a spiritual indicator, can be helpful in the 8th house for pursuing occult metaphysical knowledge. If you have Gemini as your rising sign, you yourself become a Rahu person for the next year and a half. Rahu in the ascendant sign increases your ambition, the need for self-reliance, and an obsession with being more successful. Just make sure you don't take on too much of the demonic quality of Rahu. In other words, a selfish ends justifies the means approach to reaching your goals. Ketu transiting through the 7th house of the partner is not good for the spousal arrangement. Ketu wants something better on a higher plane, spiritual. But that leads to dissatisfaction with the partner and sometimes can even lead to divorce. If there's no partner yet, Ketu's energy of denial will prevent a relationship from forming at this time. For Cancer rising people, Rahu transits in your 12th house. Ketu will be in your 6th house. Rahu puts the focus on 12th house themes, giving you more inclination for introspection, for meditation, and for charity, for helping the disadvantaged. Since Ketu represents the unseen world, including viruses and bacteria, its transit in the 6th house of health and disease usually manifests as an infection at some point. The 6th house is also the house of employment. Ketu's transit here is well known for causing dissatisfaction with the job. You want something better. Your disenchantment results in your getting fired, or you quit of your own accord. Leo rising charts have Rahu transiting in the 11th house for the next year and a half. Ketu will be opposite in your 5th house. The 11th house, like the 3rd house, is a Kama house, in other words, desire. Here in the upper portion of the chart, it stands for big desire, in other words, ambition. So, Rahu's ambitious energy fits right in here. Just make sure you don't get too demonic about it, neglecting all else to get your goals met. Ketu in the 5th house of romance is looking for some kind of ideal spiritual love. Ordinary romance may not live up to expectations. Ketu transiting in the 5th house is also not so good for children if you have any. You may get so obsessed with your 11th house goals that you all but abandon your kid, or your kid abandons you. Virgo rising people get Rahu affecting their 10th house now to September 2020. Ketu, correspondingly, will be in the 4th house. The focus will be on your career, your business, your 10th house professional activities, your deeds in the community. With so much attention on creating success out in the world, there won't be much opportunity for home life or for 4th house relationships like spending time with your mother. This transit can manifest as a literal abandonment of the home. In other words, you move to another place, or sometimes, worst case, circumstances beyond your control actually force you to give up your home. If you are Libra rising, Rahu transits through your 9th house. Ketu transits through your 3rd house for the next year and a half. The 9th house is beliefs and religion. Rahu represents something unusual. This can manifest as a renewed interest in divine studies, taking on a different belief system, or the pursuit of knowledge through college courses. It's a good time to travel somewhere with the intention of learning something. Ketu's transit in the 3rd house indicates some kind of loss in your immediate environment. Often this manifests as a neighbor moving away. Again, Ketu indicates something beyond your control. The change in your immediate environment brings out another signification of Ketu, having to adapt to a new situation. For Scorpio rising people, Rahu's transit puts focus on the house of other people's money, the 8th house. Ketu brings problems to your 2nd house of personal finances. Rahu creates changing circumstances for your financial arrangements with others, especially your spouse, but also contracts with business partners, clients, and so forth. Rahu's energy of obsession in the 8th house of esoteric knowledge can lead you to look into getting some of that secret knowledge for yourself. Ketu in the 2nd house is not good. Your personal, financial, and material situation seems somehow inadequate, unsatisfactory. Same goes for relations with family members, another 2nd house signification. In an extreme case, there can even be abandonment of the family. The 2nd house is the mouth and, therefore, food. Ketu's transit here can force changes in your diet. Sagittarius rising people get Rahu in their 7th house. Ketu is in the rising sign, the 1st house. The 7th house transit of Rahu puts an accent on your relationship with your significant other. If there is no one to fill that position, this transit will make you go nuts trying to find someone. Remember, Rahu is a demon in Vedic mythology. Make sure you don't end up with one as a partner. Ketu's spirit of renunciation in your 1st house will prompt you to sacrifice yourself in pursuit of better relations with your partner. Ketu creates change in general. The 1st house is your general physical appearance. which will be going through some sort of transformation during this transit. For Capricorn Rising charts, Rahu is transiting in the 6th house. Ketu hits your 12th house. Rahu's signification of innovation is considered good for the 6th house of solving problems. But Rahu being a demon means that there will be unusual problems, which could be quite challenging. Same goes for the 6th house signification of health and disease. You could come down with an unusual health situation. If that should happen, Rahu indicates unusual therapies. In other words, try Chinese medicine. Meanwhile, Ketu's transit in the 12th house stirs up the subconscious. But since Ketu is a natural significator of spirituality, this transit can actually be beneficial for the 12th house of meditation. Ketu's signification of sacrifice in the 12th house of disadvantaged people may put you in a situation where you have to take care of someone. If you are Aquarius Rising, Rahu will be affecting your 5th house, while Ketu manifests in your 11th house. The 5th house of romance indicates love on a one-to-one basis, whereas the 11th house is the house of friends and associates. This transit combination shows you putting your energy into finding personal satisfaction through romantic partnership, but that will be at the cost of your relationships with your friends and associates who you won't be having so much time for. In the worst-case scenario, you could actually lose a friend when Ketu transits through the 11th house. That doesn't necessarily mean that they would die. Often is just that they move away for some reason that has nothing to do with you. And for Pisces Rising charts, Rahu transits in your 4th house, while Ketu transits through your 10th house. The focus for the next year and a half will be on your home and home life, personal comforts, self-satisfaction, building up security, and so on. Meanwhile, Ketu transiting in your 10th house is ominous for your career and professional activities. You are less interested. You contemplate leaving your profession. Or there can arise a situation beyond your control where the professional and business landscape changes in such a way that you have to find something else to do. Ketu in the 10th house of reputation can cause a loss or diminishing of your status and position. The nodes operate mysteriously. They are not real planets, just calculated points in the zodiac, but their positions do have effects on our lives. So it's a good idea to keep track of where they are, and with the help of Vedic astrology analysis, we can get a better idea of what to expect and plan for the future. And now, just a reminder to everyone, I do live in the real world and have bills to pay. If you appreciate what this YouTube channel does for you, please consider supporting this work with a donation. Just click or tap on the link here, which will take you to the donation page. Thanks, and until next week.